Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Members of Parliament, Excellencies, Heads of Missions, representatives of international organizations, members of the Rwandan community, dear friends of Rwanda, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government of Rwanda and the people of Rwanda, let me start by thanking all of you for gathering here today to commemorate for the 28th time the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. We are deeply humbled by your presence. I would like to thank Honorable Mamadou Malcolm Jallo for hosting us at the Swedish Parliament and Josine Kanamugire, President of Ibuka Sweden, the Association of Survivors, for co-hosting this important event. Today, at the time when genocide denial is on the rise, we are here to remember. They took away millions of lives. They took away our family names, our joy. But when we were about to reach the bottom of the bottom, when we were about to sink to the lowest and darkest place, the sun began to rise and the lightness came back into our lives. This was after 100 days of atrocities. It was on the 4th of July, 1994, when our country was liberated by the Rwanda Patriotic Front. We healed and got to realize that something remained. Our dignity remained, Rwanda remained, our patriotism remained. This day reminds us to never ever forget our history. This day reminds us of what hate speeches have led us to. Today reminds us of what discrimination has led us to. We stand in solidarity with survivors and unite to ensure that it will never happen again, in Rwanda or anywhere else.
They used traditional weapons, day-to-day domestic tools, like hammers, machetes, and knives. And there was one particular weapon that they used. That was a special one. That's called Ntampongano y'umwanzi. Remember, we didn't just lose our people. We lost also our homes, our identity. We had to move to other places to start a new life. And a part of us, a part of our identity, went with our loved ones. We feel shame how our lives didn't matter, didn't have any value.
We ran to the forest, far away from the human being, far away from all those neighbors who were searching, killing everyone, young, old, women, children, and we end up in the forest. Some died on the run, but I was one of the lucky ones who were met and liberated by Rwanda Patriotic Army, RPF. My parents, cousin, and extended family, friends, neighbors could not survive alone. Many Tutsis in my village, many families were wiped out. We couldn't bury many of them in dignity. This was common in different areas of Rwanda.
For me personally, this day of remembrance has a special meaning. As Jallo mentioned here, I was brought up in Rwanda, and I'm well aware what happened during the 100 days of killings in '94. The genocide in Rwanda is usually described as one of the most brutal genocides and one of the most well-planned because it was committed during such a short period of time. In 3 months, almost 1 million people were killed by machetes and other weapons. But even if the genocide was carried out over a short period of time, it is important to remember that the genocide could not have been carried out without being preceded by a long period in which the Tutsi group was subjected to discrimination. The propaganda and the situation became more severe for each day until it reached a point where Tutsis were totally dehumanized.
If we want to fight genocide denial, we have to understand the genocide denial, what it is, and how it can affect us as humanity and survivors in particular. Genocide denial comes in many forms, but I'll just mention a few. Relativization, justification, plain denial, whitewashing, equalization, blame shifting, finally, sanitizing the perpetrators. This is what the genocidaires do. It all started in 1994 when the perpetrators, if you read my book, The Friends of Evil, you'd find what it means for the genocidaires to plan and even publish some sort of a blueprint of the denial, and this denial went from the perpetrators themselves and now entered the mainstream. Initially it was through their press releases and through academics and through the media, but now it's in the social media.
All human beings are born free and equal in value and rights. This is the key message in the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Protection against discrimination is a prerequisite for realizing human rights in practice. And the prohibition of discrimination is specifically stated in the various instruments of the international system for the protection of human rights. We all owe it to the victims of the genocide to remember and to act against the perpetrators. But also, I think it's important to pay attention to the attitudes and the public climate in society and be sure to take responsibility, take actions to prevent it from happening again.
The genocide is part of what is called crimes against humanity. This means that its perpetrators did not only mourn the Tutsi community that was targeted, but also the human community as a whole. It also means that, and I would like to insist on this point, that the human community must unite and cooperate to face the consequences of this crime. Let's fight against impunity, not only to give justice to the victims, but also to protect ourselves for the future.
Letting your voice be heard on behalf of all of the victims of the genocide, remembering and honoring them, not because they died, but because they lived.
As a representative of Iwuka, Iwuka means remember. I can take this opportunity to ask to have a chance for a memorial place. That memorial place for us as survivors and for you, for everyone. For us, because we have our loved ones near us, but for you as a teaching place. We can show what happened, we can educate you, the youth, and everyone who needs to be educated, so the never again can be applied near us.
We must never stop remembering. We must always remember. We must remember and honor the mothers who were taken away from their families, all the fathers, the sons, the daughters, whose lives were brutally stolen from their loved ones, the friends and the relatives who were murdered just because they belong to the wrong tribe, because of their ethnicity, simply because of hate. We remember and we mourn you. For the survivors in Rwanda and in the diaspora and in this room, we share your pain. We pay our deepest respect to you. We promise you our renewed and unwavering commitment to always remember by passing on your story to every generation, and most importantly to those who were not born when the genocide occurred, because it will be up to them not to repeat the failures of the generation before them.
These moments bring to our minds the failure of the Rwandan Parliament before 1994 that have discriminatory laws and have led to the genocide against the Tutsi. Our presence here takes us back home, where the actual parliament has revised all these discriminatory laws and keeps the protection of all Rwandans at the core of their daily work. I'm now honored to light this candle on behalf of all of us. It's our humble way of paying tribute to over 1 million lives lost during the genocide. This candle is a symbol of all continued remembrance, and this light shines bright. May their memories live within us forever.